right, the next question comes from Robert, and it's for Bro. Robert writes, I currently hold 92 stocks with the top 16 positions representing 68% of my total accounts value. I wish I could take credit for being a super stock picker, but the reality is that I've been able to follow the stock advisor and rule breaker recommendations, hold a lot more than I sell, invest routinely, and stay the course over time. Aw, I can't say thank you enough for the guidance over the years, as it has served me very well. Aw. So after reading all that praise, let's move into the question, shall we? I'm 4 years away from the minimum age to draw early Social Security, and my wife will be eligible to draw early Social Security in 2 years. We have a very reasonable mortgage that we could pay off if we liquidated our after-tax account investments, but may not want to for tax purposes. I have 3 questions. 1. I have read several guide to retirement articles that suggest that you should have 10 times your current salary saved for retirement. Is that enough? 2. Another guideline I've read is that you should draw only 4% annually from your accounts in retirement. Your thoughts on this? 3. Should we pay off our current mortgage prior to retirement or keep it to maintain some kind of mortgage interest write-off during retirement? All right. Number 1. Are you ready to go back to number 1?
Yes, but before I do that, I'm going to point out something else. Okay, so Robert, you mentioned that you're 4 years from minimum age to Social Security and your wife is 2 years. That sort of suggests that you might be planning to claim Social Security early. My first thing would be probably don't do that. The previous episode in our interview with Larry Swedrow, he talked about more and more. It's basically the recommendation is to delay it. So definitely look into that. For most people, that's the right thing to do. Okay, so for the first question was the guide to retirement, and that you should have 10 times your salary before you retire. That advice mostly comes from a very well-known Fidelity study. And there are other studies that also generally support that, one from DFA. Other studies recommend more. So if T. Rowe Price did a similar type of analysis, suggests that you should have 12 times your salary before you retire. But the thing is, these are rules of thumb, and there are lots of factors that would determine whether that's good for you or not. So one of them is how much you were making before you retired. If you look at the 2018 recommendations from J.P. Morgan, they have this great J.P. Morgan Guide to Retirement. They would say 10 times is fine if you earn $75,000 a year. But if you have a household income of $150,000, you need 13 times your salary before you retire. The reason is because Social Security replaces less of your income the wealthier you are. So that's just one example of how there are lots of factors that determine this. So definitely go see a qualified fee-only planner to get that answer for you. The second question was whether the 4% rule makes sense and our thoughts on it. I keep threatening to do a whole episode on this, and one of these days I will. But I will basically say, as a back-of-the-envelope rule of thumb, it's okay. But generally speaking, it's also something that really depends on a lot of situations, your age, your life expectancy, whether you're getting income from other sources. So I would say it's fine if you're just sort of doing a mental calculus of how much you could have in your first year of retirement, but I wouldn't rely on it exclusively. And then the third question was whether you should pay off your mortgage. You talk about being able to write it off as a deduction. The truth is, I'm going to guess you're not actually going to be able to do that anymore because of the higher standard deduction from the new tax law. Very few people will be writing off, or at least much fewer people will be able to write off their interest. Plus, it sounds like you've had your mortgage for a while, and as you own your mortgage, more and more of your payments are principal and not interest. So I wouldn't count on it for any sort of tax deduction. If you have a lot of cash sitting around earning 1-2%, and you have a mortgage on which you owe 3.5-4%, I say go ahead. You might want to do that. I feel less confident in terms of selling a bunch of stocks, paying the capital gains taxes, to do that to pay off your mortgage. So again, as a safe bet, as an alternative to cash, I think it's fine.
I think the only thing I would add, this question is going to look similar to other questions that we answer insofar as you're in a sweet spot in that there's a time frame between when most people retire and most people start to recognize most of their retirement income. And it's usually between 5 and 8 years, let's say, where you've officially retired, you're not claiming Social Security yet, you could delay to postpone that window. Maybe you have a pension that hasn't kicked in yet, et cetera. RMDs don't kick in until you're 70. So there's this window where you can recognize income strategically to manage your tax bracket into retirement. And I feel like this is the thing that I add value to folks the most as a financial planner. And it's something that people don't know to ask. And I think you're missing it here, because you even said you're going to claim Social Security potentially early. If you delay, you get a bigger Social Security benefit and could harvest income from other retirement assets, pre-tax assets strategically now to bridge you. And it would probably lower your lifetime tax liability. So just these are things that you should be thinking about as you prepare to see a qualified financial planner.